Hey guys, Harry here. So today I'll be reviewing the AEK assault rifle. I'm sure most of us know all about this weapon. It's a complete beast in close quarters combat. However, it's not really for people that struggle with countering recoil, but I'll get more into that later on in this video. So let's dive into the stats. It has a fire rate of 900 RPM, a muzzle velocity of 580 meters per second. It has a typical 25 maximum and 18 assault rifle damage model. Its tactical reload time is 2.3 seconds, while its empty reload time is 3.5 seconds, and it can hold 30 rounds in its magazine. As for the recoil, it's pretty full on. We have a 0.15 degrees on the left and 0.4 degrees on the right, and 0.37 upwards recoil. The first shot multiplier is 3, and the AEK has a typical on the move and standing still penalties of an assault rifle. Now let's talk about some of the good sides of the AEK. Obviously that insanely high fire rate and the assault rifle damage model. This is going to kick ass in close quarters combat. If you love TDM or Rush or any game mode or map that is heavily centered around close quarters, then you'll love the AEK. I had so many situations where I came out on top even though the enemy got the first shot in. That insane fire rate just allows you to still win those particular fights. It's also really good at running and gunning. The on the move penalties are fairly low and the hip fire isn't too bad either. If you come up against a high fire rate carbine or a PDW, you're most likely going to be winning every fight, as long as all your shots are on target. I really like the 25-18 damage model, especially when you're at the longer distances. Taking down a full HP target is going to take a little bit more time with a lower damage model weapon. I found that the AEK was able to take out targets at medium range without too much of an issue, even at longer ranges if you control your fire and choose the right attachments. Now let's talk about the bad sides. Even though the fire rate is really good, but it's also a downside for a couple of reasons. One, you'll be chewing through so much ammo if you miss a few shots. It's paramount to ensure all your shots are on target, or else you'll be caught out while reloading and will most likely lead to your death. Speaking of reloading, the empty reload time just feels really awkward and way too long for this particular weapon. I know DICE have purposely made it have a long animation for balance reasons, but I find myself becoming really frustrated in waiting for that empty reload animation to finish. You definitely want to always do a tactical reload with the AEK, which might be a little bit more difficult in hardcore mode if you play it. Obviously you can't see how much ammo you have left. Recoil is also a big weakness. It has a strong pull to the right, so unless you understand that and counter its recoil, you're going to find yourself shooting way off target. I haven't actually used the AEK for a while. I used it for a bit when the game first came out, but I haven't returned to it. I actually forgot how insane its recoil is. I did struggle a little bit at the start, but once you get used to it, you should find yourself being a lot more accurate. However, if you're a person that struggles to counter recoil, then I really don't recommend this gun for you. That first shot multiplier of 3 is really high, so that means tap firing to take out targets at long ranges is going to be difficult but not impossible. I really don't recommend to take this weapon in big open field maps or game modes. It's way more suited to close range action. Its muzzle velocity as well isn't too bad. It's not fast by all means, but it's not slow either. If you're a huge fan of the high fire rate assault rifles, then I would recommend the AEK over the FAMAS and the F2000, which also have some pretty high fire rates. The FAMAS only carries 26 rounds including one chambered, and with its 1000 fire rate, those 26 rounds are gone in a few seconds. The F2000 empty reload time is just way too long, and its side to side recoil is just crazy high. So out of these, I would recommend the AEK as your choice. As for attachments, there's two setups that I can recommend, but it just really comes down to your own personal taste. In close quarter maps and game modes, I really like using the ergo grip for reduced on the move penalties, the silencer of course to stay off the minimap, laser sight for reduced hip fire spread, and the coyote red dot sight for maximum visibility while aiming down sight. For the more open field maps, I really like using the angled foregrip as it reduces that really high first shot multiplier, so when you tap firing it makes those follow up shots a little more easier. You possibly possibly want to throw on the muzzle brake to reduce the upwards recoil as well. If you guys have watched my other weapon reviews, I have a scoring system where I rate a particular weapon in 3 categories out of 10 points and then give you guys my final total score. So the first category is versatility. This means if you can take the AEK in any game mode or map and be relatively successful. I give it 7 out of 10. You can take this weapon in any game mode or map, but it doesn't mean you're going to be successful in all your gunfights you encounter. You probably will need to change your playstyle and ways to approach the enemy. You'll want to stay close to areas of the map where you know you'll encounter lots of close quarter battles. For me personally, I felt kind of awkward using the AEK in some open field maps. I died so many times to weapons that are able to handle long range perfectly fine. However, I know the AEK is built for close quarters, so it is unfair for me to rate it for something that's not designed for. I still think 7 out of 10 is a fair score, however. Now on to combat effectiveness, which includes how long you can stay in combat without reloading, how well you can take down targets, and overall how you can have an impact on the enemy team. I give the AEK 7 out of 10. With that high fire rate, unless you're really accurate with your shots, you're going to be running out of ammo very quickly, and that long ass reload time will result in your death in some situations. In saying that though, it's a complete beast in close quarters. You'll be shredding people apart. So I think 7 out of 10 is what the AEK deserves. Now finally, the X Factor. X Factor means if the particular weapon has an almost unique strength or feature you can't really find in other weapons in its class, and then it makes you not even care about its bad sides. Once again, I rate the AEK 7 out of 10. If you look at some of the other high fire rate assault rifles like the FAMAS and the F2000, when compared to the AEK, they are all kind of similar. I mean, you can argue the left to right recoil of the F2000 is just so crazy high it's not a viable weapon, and the FAMAS only carries limited ammo, making the AEK a clear winner. Yes, I agree, the AEK is a winner, but it's not completely unique. It's hard to rate some weapons' X Factor rating, as DICE have done a pretty good job at balancing weapons, but believe it or not, some weapons in the game are just simply more viable than others. I don't know if you guys can tell me anything unique about the AEK over the other fast firing assault rifles, but I couldn't find anything to warrant it having a higher X Factor score. So the total score of the AEK is 21 out of 30. Some of you guys will disagree with me, and that's fine. This is a hard weapon to review because in the hands of a really skilled player, it'll be one of the best weapons in the game. But for someone that isn't as skilled, it's going to be one of the worst weapons in the game. It really comes down to what you feel comfortable with, and if your skill is high enough to control its recoil. So that's it for my AEK review. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe for future content. Let me know if you use the AEK and what setup do you roll with it. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.